First off, I'll not be answering any personal questions about my marriage or my family. I'm here to talk about football. Yeah.
Do you see any problem with the way pass interference is being called?
No, I don't see any problem in which the referees have been calling roughing the passer. I don't see myself favored in any way in the way they've been calling either. Also, if Grady Jarrett doesn't want to get kicked, then maybe he shouldn't be trying to brutally hurt me.
Do you think calls are going in your favor?
No, I don't think there's been any favoritism. I get calls equivalent to what my body can handle.
Yeah, Tom, what's with the outfit?
My outfit? Yeah, I am playing table tennis later, and I'm taking all the necessary precautions. But if Tristan Wirfs serves too hard again, I automatically win. Sorry, that beeping means that my heart rate is too high. I need to sit down and have an avocado smoothie. Thank you all for coming out. I'll be here longer than Earth.
Mr. Brady, are you excited to see Black Adam in theaters this weekend?
What's it rated?
PG-13.
Then no. Hello and welcome. You're watching Once Upon a Time in Las Vegas, the rise of the greatest American sports betting show in the world. I'm your host, Rocky Foré, here with my ever-trusty co-host, the Steamroller. How was your weekend, Steen?
It was okay. It was all right. We turned a little profit on the NFL. Wasn't great. Definitely some upsets.
Mm-hmm.
How about you? I know you're a big Seattle fan, so you had to have kind of a depressing weekend as the Mariners went 18 innings.
18
score a run.
innings. I was very disappointed. I was even more disappointed because I was in Austin, so there was Houston fans around, and I was looking for bats, and I could not find the bat bridge.
You couldn't find the bat bridge?
No, I couldn't find it anywhere. I kept walking up to people and asking if they knew where the bats were, and I don't know.
All right. Well, it was if you watched our live drawing show on Thursday, we talked about the bat bridge as Rocky had just arrived in beautiful Austin, Texas, and that reminds me, of course, everybody that comments on our video will be eligible for the drawing. We do a drawing live on Thursday afternoon. One person will walk home with a $100 gift card, courtesy of your friends at winnersandwhiners.com. So make sure you drop those comments. Let us know what you're playing. Let us know what you think of the show. Let us know what you think of Chris's haircut. Whatever it is, whatever you got. Let us know what you think of Rocky's obscure jersey collection. There's a multitude of things you could comment on. So make sure
how about this? This week, comment a link to your favorite Tiki Barber run.
Oh, there you go. That is completely random.
Yep.
I'm impressed he knows who Tiki Barber is.
Absolutely. And of course, as we are wont to do every week, we give you guys a special deep discount for watching the show. Today's show is no different. If you'd like to get any of the Cappers picks that you see here, well, it's me and Chris. But anybody else that is one of our experts over there at Winners and Whiners that has their picks, you can use the code Las Vegas 50, Las Vegas 50, and that will get you 50% off any package, best bets, all of that stuff. And just plug it in. We'll put a link in the description of today's video. You will be good to go. So without further ado, let's meet our esteemed panel of cappers, shall we? You know them, you love them. They are the veterans around here. Let's start off to my immediate right, your left on the radio dial. He's the pride of Long Island, now Brooklyn. The one, the only. He is coming off of a huge Monday night hockey victory, and I'll bet he tells us all about it. It's Scott Riechel, everybody. What's up, bud?
Doing pretty well. Still a bit stressed out about the Yankees, so we'll see what happens there. But since you brought it up, I hit about a 31-1 same game parlay in hockey last night, so that was definitely fun. Besides that, football was good, and hopefully we keep it rolling.
I should have asked it about your DraftKings Herbert prop.
Fun fact, that was the only bet that I lost yesterday. I know that a lot of people, especially on Twitter, were talking about how the sport's rigged because they lost the bet, and
right.
A lot of people were talking about how they will never use DraftKings again because of the fact they lost.
Obviously, DraftKings' fault.
Most limits also were like $100 max. Mine was $25.
Mine was $25 also.
I feel like you're probably picking the wrong interest if you're going to threaten to leave a sports book because of $25.
I was telling you guys before the show that I called my son. He works in Kansas, and I didn't think I could make it over there before game time. I said, "Hey, put $25 down on on this boost for me, and he looks it up and he texts me back, goes, I gave you 10. I dropped 15 of my own on it. You little bastard. So it serves you right. Anyway, quick note about that. If you did have that boost, here's a fun fact. If you haven't seen this yet, he threw 57 passes. It's the most passes ever thrown in an NFL game without throwing a touchdown pass. Congratulations. You're part of history, you $25 DraftKings losers. All right. And on my immediate left, or my immediate right, your immediate left, you know him, you love him. He's everybody's favorite ex-Gyrene. He's the king of parlays. It's Chris King. How are you, my friend?
Well, I got to say, I'm in a better mood today than I was during most of Sunday afternoon. But you were at the game at Arrowhead and got to see Josh Allen once again hurdle a Kansas City defender. How does it feel to watch a guy jump over a grown man on his way to leading Buffalo to a win over Kansas City? And do you put the blame on the defense or do you put the blame on Mahomes? Because I've heard it both ways.
I'm not blaming Mahomes. Why would anyone blame Mahomes?
Yeah, no, that's I don't,
because he threw a pick having to go like 80 yards in a minute. Like, I'm not blaming Mahomes.
No, and I would almost guarantee you that was a mistake on the route. I would almost promise you if you look at that route.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to run it out or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think they were. I don't think they were on the same page. A lot of times the quarterback gets the stats for the interceptions like that. No, we're fine. The defense gives up 24 points to the top scoring offense or the second top scoring offense, however it was that week in the NFL. We're fine.
I mean,
it was,
the other thing we can agree on, though, is that the officiating was terrible.
Yeah, it was awful. It was awful for both sides. Just weird calls. They missed an obvious trip. Terrible offensive pass interference. I don't know. Sometimes it seems like the officiating is bad. And then I watched the Monday night game. They make that call on the catch down the left sideline. He's got his toe a quarter of an inch on the sideline, and they called it right. The guy's sitting there, and the ref, about my age, in his 50s, he's struggling, but he's right in the perfect position, makes the exact perfect call. So, I sometimes I think that you don't give them credit for what they're actually doing, but it seems like they were pretty. Did you guys think they were real whistle happy in a lot of games this weekend?
Yeah,
I feel that way every week. I mean, we're going to talk about. I know for a fact that at some point we're going to talk about roughing the passer because it gets brought up all the time, and you had a couple of really bad calls over the past week, especially even last night. We saw Herbert get a roughing the passer call, and he didn't even hit the ground.
No, and then they called the one.
They called it on Chubb. That was in the first half, I think.
When he tackled him like at the waist and slid down, was it that one?
No, that was another one. That was I'm talking about the one where Chubb hit him up high, but Herbert never hit the ground and then called roughing the pass.
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah, we were talking about that too on Sunday because then you watched the college game and you watched Bryce Young get folded up like an accordion and power.
They're getting decapitated in college.
Yeah, power slammed over another guy. There's no roughing the passer. There's no targeting.
That was
or
crazy.
MVP Walker getting a concussion from Jalen Ramsey, and that's not a penalty.
I'm surprised Ramsey actually went for a tackle.
Yeah, me too. I figured he would have just ran out of bounds or something.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get to the games here, guys.
Well, you know what?
Before we do, though,
you know what? Oh,
what do you got?
Go
Rock?
for it. I think you got the same mind as I do. Where were you headed?
That's some scary shit right there. I was just going to talk about our new sponsor, buddy.
There you go.
All right, we do have a new sponsor here at Once Upon a Time in Las Vegas. It is a little joint called No House Advantage, and well, it's right in the name. They are absolutely changing the game by offering the most dynamic fantasy sports platform available today. Playing pick'em contest versus other people for what now? Cash money. That's right. It's a very cool deal. You just enter a contest, select your player props, climb the leaderboard, win big money every day at No House Advantage. And you can play against other players. You can play against the house. You play against the house, you get all your picks right. You get 21 times your entry. 21 times, man, by betting on over-unders or player matchups. Sign up now. Got the promo code for you, of course. W and W all spelled out, or WAND W if you were like me the first time I saw it. It is at nohouseadvantage.com, or you can download the app available on all app stores. Get a first deposit match up to $50. Get on board if you like playing DFS. Head over to No House Advantage right now. So you guys don't know this. We talked about roughing the passer, but that is going to be the it's going to be the sketch that's it opens the show. So when we talk about, it'll be a callback to the sketch that we actually just did. When you see it,
I do have a question for Rocky though. Rocky, did you get your $4 back from the Bakersfield Rec Center yet?
No, they have stopped responding to my emails.
That's unfortunate. I think we'll have to start a GoFundMe to make sure you're fully reimbursed.
Yes, please do.
Very good. All right. Well, let's get it rolling. As we always do, we'll talk about Thursday night football. And as we always do, we're going to talk about what could be a very, very bad football game. Although, maybe got a shot with this one. I don't know. It's a little battle in the NFC. Saints, Cardinals. Cardinals are a 1-point favorite. 45 is your number. Well, who's left for the Saints? They're going to be without Winston. They're going to be without Landry, Thomas, and their tight end Troutman. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to run the ball. Kamara and Ingram. The Cards, they're not unscathed either. They're missing their starting left guard. They're starting their center. Plus, no James Conner, no Hollywood Brown. New Orleans defense hasn't been great this season, but Seattle defense is awful, and they put up 3 points on them. 3 offensive points. I got to go with the under here, guys. Thursday night trends have been always towards the under. This season is no different. This game should be no different. Give me the under.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with the under. There are rumors that Winston might play in this game. I know he was limited in practice, but we'll see what happens there. It's mostly because of what you just said. Arizona couldn't move the ball against a Seattle team. They gave up 45 points to Detroit and 39 points to New Orleans, and yet Cliff Kingsbury, an offensive-minded coach, couldn't move the ball. Now, they're also going to be without Hollywood Brown, as you said. DeAndre Hopkins, I believe, is coming back, but I'm not sure if he'll be on a snap count or not. I'm still going to go with the under, though, because I really don't like either offense. I'm not sure if Lattimore is going to play for the Saints or not, but when you can't move the ball, let alone score against Seattle, I'm not going to pick an over. And Arizona, if you just go through their offensive numbers, they're really ugly, especially at home. They're a really bad home team. I'm going with the under. I'm expecting another hideous Thursday night game, which some people are watching and other people will probably put on something else halfway through.
I'll agree with you guys and say it's going to be under, but I'm going to take the Saints with the +1. I just, granted you don't really need it because if they win, they're going to win anyway. So the 1 point is irrelevant. I don't see Arizona doing much. Like Riechel said, they don't move the ball well. They left points on the field against Seattle. They chose not to kick field goals but it wasn't an indictment on Matt Amendola, who then they promptly cut yesterday. They did get Robbie Anderson in a trade for Carolina, so now they have another disgruntled wide receiver to put in their receiver room. Olave might be back. I haven't heard that Landry's officially out. I saw he was listed as questionable, so you never know. And I'll take the Red Rifle and the Saints over Kyler Murray and a bunch of guys that just run around in circles because God knows they can't run an offensive play with any sense of urgency.
Yeah, the Red Rifle is going to play like the Red Rider BB gun. This is a disastrous. Yeah, I think Andy Dalton will get his eyes poked out by J.J. Watt and company. Meanwhile, the Cardinals just traded for a receiver who couldn't figure out how to spell his name for 27 years. So I'm going Saints. I like what Chris is saying.
All right, very good. How about some Lions, Cowboys, the battle of the blue and silver down there in Jerry World. Cowboys touchdown favorite, -7 total, and this is 48.5. The Detroit offense, they got exposed a little bit against New Orleans, but they were down a couple of key players with Swift, and St. Brown certainly wasn't 100%. Swift should be back. St. Brown should be damn close to 100%. Well, that should help the offense a lot, but what can't be helped by those guys? That's the Detroit defense, and they are awful. They are still last in the league in points allowed. And that ain't going to change against Dallas, especially if Dak makes it back with that thumb. I'm going to take another total here, guys. I'm going to go over the 48.5. Dallas, I don't know if they're going to do most of the heavy lifting or not, but Dallas, I wouldn't be surprised to go 31 plus here, and that should be plenty.
For this one, I'm going to go with the over in this matchup. I think that even though the Cowboys defensively have been very good for most of the season, Philly definitely showed that they can be exploitable, and I do think that Detroit's offense, with a bye week before it, they might get Swift back. Amon-Ra kind of rushed back against New England. They got shut out. I think it's a good scheduling spot for Detroit, but I do think the Cowboys maybe get Dak back. We'll see if they desperately force him back after Rush was awful in Sunday Night Football, had 3 interceptions. I like the over. I get it's a high total, but Detroit is so bad defensively, and offensively they're not that bad. It's in a dome, so weather's not a factor. Give me the over. I think you'll see some points.
I'm going to lean towards Dallas here. I think that, getting Prescott back, you want to have him play before the bye. They get Detroit, they get Chicago. So you're looking at, you can go into the bye at 6-2. Let's face it, like Steamroller said, Detroit was awful against New England. Jared Goff is going to be running for his life, trying to get away from Micah Parsons and that Dallas pass rush. And unless Swift can come back and run for 150 yards, they're not going to respect the run because Dallas will pile up some points. We saw Detroit's scoring defense is still dead last in the league, I believe. I'll take Dallas and give the 7, especially in a dome, because now you don't have to worry about weather.
Well, this one, I think you said DeAndre Swift needs to come back and run for 150 yards. I think he's going to do that. You want a Rocky's proppy? This is Rocky's proppies! Ah! DeAndre Swift, 138, 2 touchdowns, one rushing, 1 receiving. I'm writing that down so I know.
That'll pay some money right there.
Yeah, it would.
Rocky's proppies.
And you know what? I finally, after week, bet on the Cowboys. They failed after week of me calling them bad. And so I finally say they're good, and they lost. So I'm going to continue. The Cowboys are going to lose. I'm going Lions.
Okay.
So are you saying the Cowboys are good, so they're going to lose, or are you just going to say the Cowboys are bad, so then it'll backfire on you?
I'm saying he hates the Cowboys, so he's back on just revenge picking against them.
I hate him.
Basically.
I hate him.
Yeah.
Okay. Couple of surprising teams here. One really surprising, another one maybe a little surprising. It's the Giants at the Jaguars. Jaguars home favorites of a field goal, 3 points, 42.5 is your number here. The wheels are starting to come off just a little bit for the Jaguars. They've not played well over their last 3 games. The rushing defense of the Giants, it is not great, but here's the deal. Jacksonville just rolled up 243 on the ground against Indy. They gave up just 45 to the Colts in rushing. Still lost by a touchdown. So I don't really know how big of a factor that's going to be. I think the Giants will be able to impose their will on this Jaguars team. Jaguars, decent first half team, but they tend to let down in the second half. I don't think this one's going to be any different. Give me the Giants +3. Hell yeah.
So at first glance, of course, I'm going to like the Giants, but this is definitely the trappiest line on the board, and it's not even close. Like, I'm not sure why Jacksonville's favored in this game, let alone by 3. So I'm going to keep going with totals. I'm going to take the over, because Jacksonville just let Matt Ryan go for 380-plus passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and they sacked him 0 times. So they didn't do anything right defensively, and they got into a track meet with Indy. That's almost impossible to do. There were 60-plus combined points in that game.
Love the under in that game, by the way.
So did I.
Well, it happens. Giants aren't a great offensive team, but they get a lot better as the game progresses. They tend to be a decent second half offense. They also can't stop the run. As you said, ETN looked really good last week. They still have Robinson. I think both teams score. 42.5 sounds pretty low with the Jacksonville defense giving up 30-plus to Indy. I'm going to take the over.
I would agree with Steamroller here, and I'm going to take the Giants. Like Riechel said, they're a good second-half team. They're outscoring opponents 87-42 in the second half this season. We've watched them beat some good teams. They beat Baltimore last week. They beat the Packers in London. They don't win big games. They don't win in blowouts. All their games are one-score games, and that includes a 7-point loss to Dallas. Jacksonville is trending in the wrong direction. They can't figure things out. Like you said, you ran for 243 and still lost because you made Matt Ryan look like he was playing 15 years ago instead of now behind a broken offensive line with questionable receivers. Daniel Jones has no receivers, but he does have Saquon Barkley. And meanwhile, Rocky, Trevor Lawrence's stunt double over there hasn't been producing well lately. I don't trust the Jaguars. I'll take the Giants and 3 as they go to 6-1, and God knows the Giants haven't won more than 6 games in a season the last 5 years. What in the world is going on in East Rutherford, New Jersey?
Dable.
Dayball. I love Dayball, but I'm going against the three of you. I'm going with the Jaguars. The Jaguars are number 6 in overall team DVOA. They're playing worse than they should be. The Giants are playing way better than they should be. I think the Jaguars can ride it, and I think the Giants are going to get exposed.
Out of curiosity, do you know what DVOA even stands for?
You beat me to it. I'm like, are we just going to let that slide?
Yeah, it stands for the very offense and
Aardvark.
Aardvark.
If you had Rocky dropping a DVOA reference on your bingo card, congratulations.
I was going to say that Rocky was getting crossed up with DVDA, the band that Matt Stone and Trey Parker, from the creators of South Park, have. But apparently, he's talking about aardvarks.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Let's talk about the another battle there in the AFC South. Colts at Titans. Titans 3-point home favorites. Total in this one's 42.5. Well, this is a good time to remind you guys that we do tape this Tuesday afternoon. There can be a lot of injury news that'll affect our plays and the lines on these games. And no one probably is more prominent than this one, because we don't know who's going to be the running back for the Indianapolis Colts. Is it going to be Taylor? Is it going to be Hines? Don't know if either one of them are going to be back. This Tennessee defense has been pretty good against the run. For the second week in a row, I think Matt Ryan's going to have to throw to win. As we mentioned before, he went for 389 versus Jacksonville. Should be able to find the same kind of success against the Titans. Maybe not 380, but certainly in the 320 to 350 range wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility, because this Titans defense, dead last in passing yards allowed. Their pass rush, after showing up for 1 year in 2021, has now gone back in the hole. They're struggling in the defensive backfield. I think this one goes over the total of 42.5.
I agree about the total. The first meeting went under because they combined for 7 points in the second half after about 31 in the first half. So it's a bit misleading. I like the over too. I do like Tennessee in the spot, though. I know the pass defense is awful, but it's a really good scheduling spot. Anytime you could enter a division game at home off a bye, I think it's a huge boost. Tennessee gets to rest up. They get the game plan for an extra week. I think they'll be ready. I think Vrabel will get his guys ready to go. I think it'll be competitive, but I do like Tennessee off the bye, laying roughly 2.5 or 3. I'll take the Titans in the over.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to take the Colts. I think the game does go over, but that bye week, it might stunt some of the momentum that Tennessee had. They had won 3 straight going into the bye. They're still not good offensively. They're 21st in scoring offense. They're 21st in scoring defense. They still give up over 100 yards per game on the ground, even though they've been better of late. Their secondary is awful. I mean, I watched them in week 2 when they played up in Orchard Park against the Bills, and they got shredded. They made Carson Wentz look serviceable, and Wentz nearly beat them in the last minute before he decided to throw an interception. They've given up at least 300 yards through the air in 4 of their 5 games. And the exception was against the Giants when they gave up 238 on the ground instead. I don't necessarily like the Colts, especially with the question marks at running back. Could be Philip Lindsay at running back. Anybody try to call Edgerrin James or Tom Matte and see if they're available? Because the Colts need somebody. But in the end, I think this is a revenge game for the Colts. I'm going to take Indianapolis to get that, to split the season series and improve to 4-2-1.
Delaney Walker is coming back. So I love that for the Titans.
Wait, what do you mean he retired?
He did? I thought my notification said he signed with the Titans.
He for a one-day deal to retire.
Why didn't he sign on the day they had a game? Well, I still like the Titans in this game.
Okay. All right, solid. Even though there's a complete reason for doing it, is no longer available. Sticking with the pick. You gotta love it.
Mm-hmm.
In honor of Delaney Walker's career, he's taken the Titans.
That's commitment.
How's the DVOA on that one?
Mm-hmm.
It really is. How's the DVOA on that one, Rock?
The DVOA of Delaney Walker?
Yeah. I'll just give you how it is.
Probably -4. I don't think he looks like an aardvark at all.
Okay, I'm going to ask a real question. Does anybody know what DVOA stands for? And I know
Yes.
you've all been Googling it. Has anybody found it? What
Yeah,
is
it's
it?
defense adjusted value over average.
There you go. Hey, that's our first 4. We got them in the bank. Don't forget, I mentioned that you can get all of our premium plays, including whose? Mine. You can get my premium plays. Simply put in the code Las Vegas 50, and that'll get you 50% off my best bets or packages throughout the year. Been running pretty good. Had a couple of good shows here in a row. We're 18 and 12 over the last 2 weeks. Hit our best bet in the Monday night football game. So eating up, figuring out this football thing. Now's a good time to jump on board. Las Vegas 50. Check out that code, won't you? And hey, check out the rest of the show right after these brief messages. We'll see you on the other side.
Hey, Mr. Michaels, thank you for coming in today. Anytime. So we're just going to have you go through and record some promos for the upcoming Thursday night football games presented by Amazon Prime. Easy enough. Hello, I'm Al Michaels. The NFL has a new Thursday night home on Amazon Prime, and Kirk Herbstreit and I will be there to bring you all the excitement. Week 1, the world champion Los Angeles Rams will host the Super Bowl favorite Buffalo Bills. Aaron Donald versus Josh Allen. The NFL on Amazon Prime. We deliver the action. That's great energy, Al. Just one thing. Amazon doesn't actually have the Week 1 game. That's going to be NBC. Well, that's weird. You'd think for $1 billion, you get all of the Thursday night games. So, what do we got for Week 2 then? Chargers at Chiefs. Okay, now we're talking. Hello, I'm Al Michaels. This Thursday, 2 of the best young quarterbacks in the NFL will go at it under the lights in Arrowhead. You won't want to miss this one. The NFL on Amazon Prime. We deliver the action. That's great, Al. Let's just do the next one. I'm Al Michaels. The always tough Steelers defense will try to put the brakes on one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the league, Deshaun Watson. Look out, world. Here come the Browns. The NFL on Amazon Prime. We deliver the action. That should be a fun game to announce. Keep it going, Al. You're a real pro. Wow, you guys got some great matchups, like Bengals Dolphins. Okay, not everything can be a hit. Colts Broncos. That'll be a high-scoring game. Commanders Bears. Are you kidding me? Wait. Texans Eagles. Cardinals Panthers. Is this a joke? Is Collinsworth back there? No, Al. These are the real games. Just do the next promo. This week on Amazon Prime, the mighty Jets are taking on the hungry Jaguars. Are you kidding me? We can flex these, right? Nope, these are the games. Just read the script. It's Thursday night on Amazon Prime as the Kansas City Pop Warner Blue team takes on the Red team. I want to die. Is this the matchup? Look, man, I don't set the matchups. I just record the promos. Oh my God, I have made a terrible mistake. I wonder if Madden still needs a partner. Al, Coach Madden died last year. Gee Willikers, then why on earth am I doing this? Isn't your contract for $1 million a game? I'm Al Michaels. The NFL is a new Thursday night home on Amazon Prime. This week it's a battle for the ages as the new-look Washington Commanders travel to the Windy City to take on the Bears and their young phenom Justin Fields. Don't blink. You won't want to miss a second of this one. The NFL on Amazon. We deliver the action. It's going to be a long season. It sure is. It sure is.
Jesus shit. Hey, it's just me. What? You still think it's my fault? No, I don't. It's just... God, somebody convinced me the Packers were good. So somebody was trying to ruin me. Sauce Gardner says he scared Rodgers away. It wasn't me, Sid. I know. My handicapper called me again last night at Tatum's house. You see? It couldn't have been me. I was in jail. Remember? I'm so sorry. Please understand. Understand what? That I got a girlfriend who'd rather put a lot of money on the New York Jets than touch me? You know that's not true. Then what is it? What is it? Billy, I put everything on the Packers and they got destroyed last weekend. I mean, between us. I mean, you haven't been the same since the Jaguars beat the Bills. Is your brain leaking? The game was a fluke. I can't believe you're bringing this up. It's been a year, 2 weeks. 1 year in 2 weeks. I think it's time you got over that. I mean, when I bet on the Raiders to beat the Cardinals, I accepted it. It is what it is. That money's not coming back. The Raiders are a bad team. It's not the same thing. Their quarterback is terrible. He's not some former MVP. Okay, I'm sorry. It's a bad analogy. I just want my girlfriend back. Look, I'm sorry if my terrible bets are an inconvenience to you and your Mason Foles-esque existence. What? Nobody said that! Sid! Stupid.
All right, everybody, welcome back. This is segment number 2 of Once Upon a Time in Las Vegas. You're watching with myself, the Steamroller, Rocky Foré, and our guest handicappers for the week, Scott Riechel and Chris King. We continue with our NFL breakdown for week number 7. Let's talk a little Falcons and a little Bengals, shall we? Bengals are at home, laying 6, 47.5 is the number. Hey, I love those throwback jerseys of the Falcons last weekend with the red helmets and the black jerseys because they are playing 1980s football. They run first, try to throw when the other team isn't expecting it, and they try to play solid defense. And nobody thought they'd be 3-3 right now. And really, nobody thought they'd be 6-0 against the number. Bengals offense, they still do not look in sync to me. Still giving up pressure on Burrow, if not the same number of sacks that they were early, but he's still got some happy feet back there. Falcons 6-0 against the number. How can I get in front of that train? Give me the Falcons to be down by 12 points for the entire game and score a touchdown in the last 3 minutes to cover. There you go, Falcons. That's what you do. Falcons plus 6.
I agree. I'm going to go with the Falcons. The Bengals were really good against the run before last week. They let the Saints run for 228 yards. And for reference, the Saints were missing their 3 best receivers, and yet the Saints still scored 20 points in the first half. I know that eventually the Bengals defense woke up, but the fact that this team's still a bit inconsistent, the offensive line's still not very good, and Atlanta is feisty. They hang around, they keep games close. It's why they're covering, and they tend to be getting too many points, and I think this is going to be too many points. I think they'll hang around, probably lose, but maybe by 4. I'll take the Falcons plus 6.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. This game is in Cincinnati.
Yes.
I'm going to take the Bengals. I don't trust Atlanta having to play out of the comforts of having the nice air-conditioned dome in Atlanta, having to go to Cincinnati where the weather is not going to be fun because I know what it looks like in the Northeast right now. Granted, Burrow, he's had issues with that offensive line. God knows if they'll ever figure it out. But the fact is, they still rallied to beat New Orleans despite all their issues. The Falcons can't sit around. They're not going to keep running the ball with a backup corner in Avery Williams along with Huntley and Algier with Patterson out. I don't trust Mariota. Obviously, he didn't throw the ball much last week because the 49ers were banged up and terrible. I think this Bengals defense sets the tone early, and Cincinnati puts Atlanta in a hole they can't dig themselves out of. I'm going to take the Bengals to win by, I'll say 10.
Did you just factor the weather in by what it's doing in the Northeast on Tuesday?
I know. I've already seen the forecast going. I've already seen the forecast going forward.
Rocky, help us out. What's your weather
The
forecast?
weather in Cincinnati, high of 77, with 100% chance of the Falcons covering. 100% chance of Kyle Pitts still not getting the ball. 100% chance of Jamar Chase having himself a game. 100% chance of Joe Burrow throwing 2 picks and getting sacked about 6 times. But the Bengals still win, but I'm saying Falcons cover. I like exactly what Steehn said.
There you go. A smart man right there. Hey, Browns-Ravens, the battle of the AFC North. Ravens at home. They're in the Inner Harbor, minus 7 points. 46.5 is your total. A lot of times when you're handicapping games, the first thing you have to look at, what are a certain team's strengths? How do they match up against that other team? Well, if the other team has a weakness where another team has a strength, that's what we call an advantage. The Ravens, they like to run the football. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, if you're new to the game, but if you are, Ravens like to run the football. So can Cleveland stop the run? No, they cannot. They are 26th in the league in rush yards per carry, which is what I look at. I don't like to look at rush yards per game. I like to look at rush yards per carry.
I'm surprised they're that high.
They give up a ton of points. They're 29th in the league in points allowed. That is not a good combo when you're facing the top rushing team in football. The Browns, they have lost and failed to cover their last 3. That's what we call trending in the wrong direction, kids. Don't like to lay big numbers, but I'll do it in this case. Give me the Ravens minus 7.
Yeah, I love the Ravens in the spot. I found a couple 6.5s as well. In addition to Cleveland being awful against the run, they're also really bad against the pass. They don't do anything well defensively, and Clowney and Ward both missed the game against New England last week. So they were bad when they were healthy. Now they're banged up, and they gave up 30-plus points to New England and Zappy. Zappy went for 300-plus passing yards, and he absolutely torched this team. It's a great spot for the Ravens. They had a game that they should have won against the Giants. They let it slip through their fingertips. Now they have a very underwhelming division rival at home that's struggling. I think Baltimore rolls them here. I think they might score 30, 35 points. I'll take the Ravens to win this game comfortably.
Yeah, I'll take the Ravens as well, but I have to be concerned just because we've watched how many times they've blown double-digit leads already. Yeah. We watched them melt down against Miami. We watched them melt down against Buffalo. They struggled to put the game away against the Giants.
Well, they lost. They blew the game against the Giants as well.
Right. That's what I mean. That's the thing is, can you trust them enough? And the plus part is, you got Jacoby Brissett throwing the ball for Cleveland, and he throws interceptions at the worst possible time. We saw that against the Chargers. We also know that this defense can't stop anyone on the run. I mean, they let Austin Eckler run for 170, and the Chargers ran for 240 or something like that in that game. I think you've got to lean towards Baltimore. They're just going to run the ball down Cleveland's throats, and Cleveland will once again be disappointed by the team that the old Browns became.
Yes, the Ravens have given up double-digit leads to the Dolphins, to the Bills, to the Giants. The Browns are not even close to any of those teams, so they won't be able to come back. Ravens easily.
I blame it on the ridiculous creature at midfield in the Cleveland Stadium. What is it, Brownie or Bucky or whatever the hell his name is?
I'm not a fan of Brutus either, so at least
the giant turd.
Yeah, I do love it.
You
this
do?
Might be yes, because the modern NFL and modern sports design has been so bad and so boring. They don't take risks. What happened to those cool 90s shirts? Like when Cowboys gear dominated, everything's lame. It just says team, Well, so let's get some personality in there, and that's what the Browns are doing.
My dad actually has one of those.
Is that
Cowboys
what the Kraken
jackets.
did with their mascot?
No, the Kraken just wanted to give kids nightmares.
It works.
The Chiefs used to have an angry Native American shirtless in chaps with a headdress and waving a tomahawk, doing a screaming after somebody. Do we need to bring that back?
The Islanders have a dragon as their mascot. I don't know what that has to do with Long Island, but that's their mascot.
How about a little NFC South? I know what you're saying. No thanks. But yep, we got to do it anyway. It's the Buccaneers heading to Carolina. They have Carolina on their mind as they are a 10.5-point favorite on the road against the Panthers. 42.5 is the number. Laying 10.5 on the road. Am I crazy? Yes, I am. I am pretty much auto-fading Carolina right now. This offense was dreadful before they dealt Robbie Anderson. They are 31st in the league in scoring margin. I don't think Brady's going to have to cuss as much in this one. I like the Buccaneers to pick up a much-needed victory against just a terrible football team right now. Give me the Bucs minus 10.5.
Yeah, I hate both these teams. I'm just going to go with the under. I don't trust either offense in this one. Pittsburgh was missing basically half its secondary, including their best defensive player, not named TJ Watt didn't play and Fitzpatrick didn't play, and Tampa still couldn't move the ball. The Panthers couldn't move the ball either, whether it was Walker, whether it was any other quarterback that came in to fill in for Walker once he got hurt. I like the under. There's several ways to cash this. I'm not sure Carolina gets to 10 points, but I'm not sure Tampa gets to 20. So I'm just going to go with the under and assume both offenses are awful.
Fair.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to stay under. If I had to pick a side, I'd have to go with Tampa Bay just because they actually have, NFL-capable players. I mean, you look at Carolina, who do you think of as a star at their position outside of McCaffrey and maybe DJ Moore? Now you've got
went
Brian,
healthy, but he was out last week.
Right, and you got Brian Burns, who's, making it sound like he wants to get traded. You'd be better off taking Carolina's defense to outscore Carolina's offense because, they've scored a couple touchdowns this season. But in the end, I think Tampa Bay will win. It's not going to be a pretty game, and I'll be, like Riechel said, I'll be surprised if the total gets out of the 30s.
I like what Riechel's saying too. I'd take the under. I'm not taking either team because I took the Panthers last week to cover. They were minus 11.
Yeah, it went to 11. I think we got it at 9 on the show, and it ballooned to 11 by game time. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had the ball in the red zone, down 14. Could have done something there. They didn't. The Buccaneers, I've not been very confident with them, so I don't like either team. I'm just taking the under.
All right, fair enough. And let's talk about the Packers and the Commanders, shall we? This one was 6.5 earlier in the week, now down to 5.5 as the Packers road favorites against Washington. 41.5 is the number. Well, I've got good news and bad news for Washington fans, if there's any of you out there. Bad news is Wentz is out and Heineke's in. Good news is I'm not sure there's much difference. I don't know that that's a huge downgrade as most quarterbacks situations would be from the 1 to the 2. Both of these run defenses are dreadful. The good news is neither team can run the football. Green Bay has been overvalued all season long. When I wrote this on Sunday or Monday morning, and it was 6.5. I said I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to 7 or 7.5. Looks like people have figured it out, kids. That Green Bay not very good. The number's gone the other direction. So, still, I can't back this Green Bay team right now. I'll take the Commanders at home plus the 5.5.
I agree. I think it's a very ugly, hold your nose type bet, but I can't bet the Packers right now. And the fact that Washington lost Wentz, I'll be fully honest. I think Heineke's an upgrade. I think he's a better player than Wentz. I think
it's a push at worst.
He can't move, and they give a bunch of sacks. So at least now their quarterback's mobile, and maybe he'll actually target McLaurin for once. Maybe.
That'd be nice.
But I really like the scheduling spot. They played on Thursday. They're missing a bunch of weapons. I know Logan Thomas didn't play. Dotson didn't play. You have extra time off. You can maybe get one of those two guys back, maybe both. I just can't take Green Bay. This offense is awful. And Rodgers didn't finish the game against the Jets. It was actually Jordan Love. So I think Rodgers is battling a couple of injuries right now, which could explain, in addition to the lack of quality weapons, why he's been struggling. But since Rodgers came out of the game in the fourth quarter, I'm concerned. I'm gonna go with Washington. I think they're getting too many points.
Yeah, I like Washington here too. You know, for all the talk about how Heineke is a backup quarterback, yeah, remember this is a guy who gave Tampa Bay all they wanted in the playoffs a couple seasons ago too. He's familiar with the offense. Rivera is comfortable with him. McLaurin is comfortable with him. Green Bay, I don't get it. You know, they've got these two running backs. They paid a ton of money to Jones to keep him around, and he carried the ball 9 times against the Jets for 19 yards. Dillon had 10 for 41. Randall Cobb got hurt. Watson was inactive, so they were down to Romeo Doubs and Lazard. Robert Tonyan was their top receiving threat. And when your tight end is your top receiving threat and his name isn't Kelsey, Kittle, or Andrews, you've got some issues. I don't have any faith in this Green Bay offense right now, so I've got to go with Washington.
Seems like Aaron Rodgers doesn't have any faith in the offense, too. He said that he wants a simpler offense, and I don't think you can get much simpler than the way the Packers are playing, which is bad. Also, Wentz getting hurt is the best thing to happen to the Commanders since Dan Snyder bought the team. Dan Snyder is an incredible leader, entrepreneur, and overall good person. Dan Snyder is a good person to work for who fosters a good community with his team and within his organization.
So did Dan Snyder write that for you?
I was going to say, do we get a piece of that since we're on the show with you and you got to read that off? Do we share some of the proceeds there, or is that all for you?
Yeah, I'll put a bet on your name.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. Put me down for a Rocky's Proppies.
Rocky's Proppies.
This is Rocky's Proppies! Ah!
Yeah.
Chris, how have you been doing?
Can't complain. Hockey's been better to me than football lately. I had a tough day Sunday, I won't lie. The best pick I had Sunday was the Bills over the Chiefs. Last night, though, was better. I took the Broncos under 19.5. I had Austin Eckler over 4.5 receptions. Somebody explained to me why that was plus money. But I had Eckler to score a touchdown, though that was, not as fun because it was minus money. But you take the props where you can get them. As you know, with being the head of Rocky's Proppies, we're you take the chips where they fall.
Hey, you know what? We're going to take a break, get a word from our sponsors. Enjoy it. See you in a second.
Hi, welcome. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Mike Matarski. I was born and raised in Brighton Park, Illinois. I've been a union welder for the last 27 years, and I'm a huge Bears fan.
You're a fan of all Bears?
You betcha. Offense, defense, yeah, pretty much all of them.
And what other Bears do you like?
Let's see. California, Baylor, Missouri State, Jack Nicklaus, and Jethro from the Beverly Hillbillies.
Jethro?
Max Bear.
Gotcha. And what about the Charmin Bears?
Oh yeah, love your work. The whole family's great.
And why do you think you should be the next Charmin Bear?
Well, for starters, I'm a talking bear. Not too many of us out there. Plus, having fur and being a welder is not a great combo. I set myself on fire like 2-3 times a week. It's getting old.
All right. And what kind of toilet paper do you currently use?
Honestly, whatever's on sale. Look, when I was a cub, I was heading to the woods, doing my business, and then grabbing a handful of sticks or leaves. Now I live in a 3-bedroom ranch with a finished basement and a state-of-the-art bear cave for watching all football games.
And about how many times a day do you go?
Go where?
You know. Go.
Oh, yeah, I got you. I don't know. Once or twice, I guess. More if Miss Matarski made her 5-alarm chili, you know what I'm saying?
And how's the fur after the go? Nice and clean?
I don't know, man. I can't see back there. I'm a bear, not a frog. You think I have some kind of triple mirror contraption so I can check out the back door? I go and I move on with life.
Mike, I want to thank you for coming in today, but I believe we're going to go in a different direction. Mary, give me W.T. Pooh on the line.
What? You're going with Winnie the Pooh? That slimy bastard? All he does is eat honey and lay around listening to the Grateful Dead. There's gonna be honey everywhere, and you want to talk about matted fur?
Thanks again, Mike.
Oh, come on. That bear is a pervert. I don't think he even owns a pair of pants. You want to talk lawsuits? Wait till mom takes her kids to see the fat pantsless bear with honey, toilet paper, and God knows what else stuck to his fur. You're going to regret not hiring old Mike Matarski. I'll tell you that much. Let me go.
Welcome back. You know, sure, Dan Snyder has dirt on me, but life is okay. What do we got next, Steehn?
Hey, how about Jets Broncos? Jets on the road. Broncos are at home in Mile High, -3. 39.5 is the number. This one was originally 42.5, by the way. They saw that game last night and went, oh, yeah, that's right. I don't know why we'd ever do that. So now it is below 40. One of these teams is in absolute disarray. Their quarterback's struggling. The coach sucks. And they have just 2 wins so far on the season. The other team is the Jets. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week, folks. Jets 4-2 right now. Holy crap. Who'd have figured? Russell Wilson has been a disappointment, well, pretty much the entire season, except for the first quarter of the Monday night game. The Jets, they're getting it done, man. They're going up. They're winning tough games. Am I totally convinced? No, I am not. Am I totally convinced the Broncos are not good? Yes, I am. Give me the Jets. Give me 3.
I'm going to take the Jets as well. There are some rumors going around that Wilson's hamstring injury is actually pretty serious, and he might not play in this game, so just keep that in mind. I don't know if that's an upgrade or not.
Russell Wilson, not Zach
Yeah,
Wilson,
sorry,
correct?
Russell Wilson might not play. I forgot, it's Wilson versus Wilson. Yeah, so Russell hurt his hamstring in the Monday night game. He might not play. If he does, he had 3 completions after the first quarter, so that's not exactly ideal. Or it was after halftime, I think. It was after halftime. He had 3 completions. It was an absolute train wreck. But the point is, I like the Jets.
Did the kid from Boise State, is that their backup?
Yeah, Brett Rippon, Mark Rippon's kid.
Rippon, yeah.
Yeah, he's a second string, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Either
All
way,
right.
Wilson was useless after the first quarter, and if he does play, I don't like him. Rippon's a backup for a reason. It's because he's not very good. The Jets, I came on this show a couple weeks ago and said they had the best cornerback tandem in the league with Reed and Gardner, and I stand by it. I think Gardner's a top 5 corner in the league as a rookie. He's favored to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, as he should be. The secondary is very good. Broncos can't throw the ball, and Melvin Gordon got benched, and nobody knew what was happening. Latavius Murray, who's still in the league, got a bunch of touches. I think both teams defensively are solid, so I'm going to lean to the under. But the Jets are actually looking like a real football team. I don't know what Denver looks like right now, but it's not good, and they shouldn't be laying points. I'm taking the Jets.
Well, I'm going to go with the Jets, but that just shows you what having 37 first-round picks can do for you, because you can pick a bunch of premium talent and plug it into your roster.
Didn't help the Lions.
Well, that's true, but that's the Lions that blame William Clay Ford. Are the Jets improved? Yes. Are the Jets going to maintain this all season? I don't think so. Are the Jets going to beat the Broncos? Sure, because Denver can't move the ball to save their lives. I don't think if they were playing air, I would probably still take air to stop Denver's offense. Gordon being benched, that's probably an improvement for Denver, because that way you don't have to worry about him fumbling inside the 5-yard line.
It's also a short week because they played on Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
There's that too. In the end, though, if Denver scores more than 17 points, they'll have a parade. But I'm going to take the Jets.
Yeah, NFL fans bullied the Broncos into convincing them they are a bad team. Did you guys see the video of Russell Wilson like trying to hype everybody off like in the going to the locker room at halftime?
Mm-mm.
They were like, everyone just looks so dead, and it's halftime. It's not the end of the game.
Yeah, they were tied.
Yeah, people have been talking as much bad as they can about Russell Wilson. He's been playing terribly, but there's the only person in the entire Denver locker room that actually cares about winning right now, it seems, is Russell Wilson. So I don't know if that's a Nathaniel Hackett thing or Melvin Gordon just being upset about not being able to play football, which he's playing his old team. Let him run the ball. Have a revenge game. The Broncos are a disaster. I'm taking the New York Jets.
Okay. All right, very good. Hey, speaking of disasters, how about the battle of the last place teams here as the Texans travel to Sin City to take on the Raiders? Raiders minus 746 is the total. You know, sometimes you look at stats and something just doesn't make sense, and that's the case in this one. Houston's 13th in points allowed. They are 31st in yards given up. Talk about bend but don't break. Guess what, kids? That's just not sustainable. I think Josh Jacobs, who is having a very fine season, by the way, I think he runs wild in this one. I would not lay 7 with the Raiders against probably anyone else in the league, and I don't think that's an exaggeration right now. But I will lay it here. I'm going to hold my nose. Raiders minus 7 over the Texans.
Now,
Yeah,
would you give 7 to the Bears?
Yeah, there's the other one. Bears play better defense, though. So, I don't know. That'd be a tough one.
I think this game's tricky because both teams are off the bye. It's pretty rare you have a bye team versus a bye team in the week after. You don't see that often. I'm going to go with the over. I just don't like either defense at all. I agree with Steehn that Jacobs should realistically run for like 120 plus yards. I just think that Houston's run defense is terrible. The Raiders ran the ball down Kansas City's throat, and they were successful with it. Plus, you still have Adams. Renfro's back. You also have Waller, who might be back. I know he hurt his hamstring very early on in that Chiefs game, but they had a week off, so hopefully he'll be back as well. I just like the over. I don't like either secondary. Houston can't stop the run. Give me points. I think you'll end up seeing a game in the 50s.
I'm actually going to take the points in Houston here, because for as bad as Houston has been allowing teams to move down the field, we can't say the Raiders are setting the world on fire either. The Raiders don't force takeaways. They have 3 takeaways all season long. Damian Pierce has taken over the run game for Houston. Davis Mills is still a capable quarterback. He's not great by any stretch of the imagination, but he won't beat himself. Brandon Cooks has been decent. Nico Collins has been all right, and we know the Raiders have a tough time defending anyone in the secondary. They've given up at least 250 yards through the air in 4 of their 5 games, and they've given up at least 100 on the ground in 3 out of 5, including 103 to the Chiefs, who had a hard time getting the run game started on Monday night a couple weeks ago. I think the best hit that we saw from the Raiders in that Monday night game was Devontae Adams flying over the cameraman when the game was over. I'll take Houston, and I'll take the 7 points, because I'm not convinced that the Raiders can beat anybody convincingly. You look, their one win was over Denver by 9. Denver, we've already talked about them enough.
The whole entire Texans organization has a weight off of their shoulders with Jack Esterby being fired. They no longer have to sit there and pretend to laugh at his stand-up comedy. I think that helps them a lot. And I got the Texans on this one.
Okay, very solid. And we're going to talk about a little rematch of the Super Bowl a couple years ago. The Chiefs travel west to take on the 49ers. 48.5 is the number. Chiefs, road favorite in this one of 3 points. Guys, for me, this is all about the injuries. I loved this 49ers team. And then they had a rash of injuries last week before the game. They had a couple of injuries during the game. Just to recap, they're going to be without Armstead. They're going to be without Bosa. They're about out of cornerbacks. On the offensive side, they have not gotten away unscathed. They're still going to be without perhaps the best left tackle in the business in Williams, and now they're probably going to be missing their other tackle, McGlinchey. I think the Chiefs are catching this team at the right time. Chiefs offense still not clicking. The defense has been exposed a little bit, but for this 49ers team, it's just a little too far down. Give me the Chiefs on the road, -3.
Yeah, I know the Niners have been very good at home this season, but that was when they were fully healthy. I think that the spread is ridiculous. I think Kansas City should be favored by a lot more. They barely lost to Buffalo. I think Buffalo's the best team in the league. I think Kansas City's probably the second best team in the league. This Niners team that they rolled out last week lost by double digits to Atlanta. I think the Chiefs roll here, especially off a loss to Buffalo at home. I think they'll be motivated. The Niners, at the end of the day, they're a very talented team. The issue is a lot of the talent on that team isn't playing, so I'm not going to pick them to win the game. I'll take Kansas City. I know Mahomes should have more time in the pocket because the Niners might be missing basically their entire defensive line. Mosley's out for the year. Ward might not play. It's a train wreck based on the injuries.
Either Ward, Charvarius, or Jimmy.
Either. So the point is, I'll go with the Chiefs because even though they were battling their own injuries, defensively, they looked pretty good against Buffalo compared to most teams. I'll take the Chiefs.
Yeah, they're going to get Willie Gay back. They may be able to get McDuffie back. He was eligible last week off of IR. I think he's going to play this week. Those are two huge pieces of that Kansas City defense.
Is Fenton going to play? Because I didn't realize he was going to be out until right before game time.
And he missed the last game, and the secondary still was okay. I mean, they didn't get absolutely torched, but doesn't the spread seem a little bit weird because the Niners are beaten to hell and back, and the Chiefs are a lot healthier than the Niners right now?
Well, you're setting the spread based on how you think people are going to bet it. So
I think people are going to slam the Chiefs. So
and playing in San Francisco is always a hostile environment because
right. I don't know how many of the casual bettors know how banged up this Niners team is. I think that's my point.
Yeah, and like Steehn said, missing both tackles is going to be tough for San Francisco. They've got Kittle, they got Deebo Samuel. I don't trust Jeff Wilson.
He's shown some spurts, but yeah, he's not an every down guy.
Yeah, and he's a guy that has Melvin Gordon hands sometimes too, and he'll put the ball on the ground, and you can't afford to do that against an offense like Kansas City's. Like Scott said, Willie Gay is going to be back, and their secondary is going to be improved with some of those guys coming back in the mix too. I don't think the 49ers, with all the pieces they're missing on defense, and don't forget Kinlaw is out too with another knee problem on that defensive line. That's going to give Mahomes time to throw. Those receivers are going to find holes in the zone. 49ers can't stop Kelsey either, and I think the Chiefs are going to win this one by at least a touchdown.
Yeah. This game is going to be so devastating for the 49ers. I don't see the Chiefs walking out of this game not beating them by like 30 points. I think it's going to be so bad that Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't even finish the game. I think Brock Purdy is going to have snaps in this game.
Is that a Rockies proppy too?
That's a Rockies proppy.
This is Rocky's Proppies! Ah!
Over 1 snap for Brock Purdy.
All right. Hey, we're going to get ready to take a break here. Before we do, hey, Scott, you got anything to brag about?
Yeah, I actually do. NFL absolutely crushed it on the YouTube side. Ended up sweeping on Sunday, had 2 plays there, had the Patriots, and I also had Josh Allen over in passing yards. Then last night, I had the race to 30 points, never in doubt. Plus, I did a prop show with Allie, gave out 4 props on that one, and swept the board there too. So 7-0 run. I doubled down on the race to 30, but 7-0 run in the last 7 NFL picks. Going well. Let's keep it rolling.
All right, very good. And don't forget, if you're looking for any of the experts pick over here at winnersandwhiners.com, you can use the code LasVegas50 to get 50% off whatever package you happen to be looking at. So take advantage of that very special offer for our friends that watch our video. And of course, as we mentioned, don't forget to comment. Everybody that comments has an opportunity to win $100. You'll be entered into a drawing that Rocky and I will do live on Thursday. So drop us a comment. Let us know what you think of our show. Let us know what you're playing this weekend. Let us know what you think of our picks. All right. Hey, you guys, stay tuned. You made it this far. You're 75% done. You've already earned your C. Let's go for that A. We'll finish it up right after this.
I already am the greatest of all time. I've been the greatest for years. And anybody who wants to refute that can see me personally.
Look, I was the first person who found Oklahoma Hawkins. He didn't have an ounce of talent in him until I got my hands on him.
I would practice all day, every day. Cornhole at breakfast. Cornhole at lunch.
Early days, I'd make him toss a sack about 14 hours a day. No breaks, no water, no nothing. I'd turn into a little crusty raisin. He complained. I wouldn't let a day of practice go by without him crying.
Michael Jordan. Never heard of him.
It's a strong ability to overcome any type of adversity, and he had that. He had that X factor. I think my career as a coach and manager has shown that I have never once tried to hurt, physically damage one of my athletes. Mostly I just verbally abuse them.
My late manager, God rest his soul, he just passed away 2 years ago from a drug overdose.
A lot of people talked about how my coaching techniques can be a little unusual and cruel. Well, I think my favorite technique was I convinced Oklahoma that I passed away with a drug overdose. And now I just kind of chill, hang out, avoid him. Look, Pepper Hardaway doesn't run a practice if someone ain't crying. We ain't calling it quits till somebody cries.
And I took that personally. At that moment, I realized I wasn't going to win the match. I was going to win the whole damn thing.
Wow, these burgers look great, Bob.
Oh, thanks, Stan.
Hey, how come your burger's so much bigger?
House advantage.
The house advantage? That's not fair. Everybody here at the neighborhood barbecue is just as hungry as you are.
My house, my advantage. Scram.
Hey man, I was watching the big game.
Sorry, my house, my advantage.
You said I could come over here and watch the big game because I didn't have TBS.
Too late. You're done.
Hi, I'm Rocky Foré. And if you love fantasy sports and you're sick of the House Advantage, you gotta go to nohouseadvantage.com. It's a daily fantasy sports platform that is changing the game, playing pick'em contests versus other people for cash. Enter a contest, select your player props, climb the leaderboard, and win big money every day on No House Advantage. Plus, if you have the app, you can even play against the house and win up to 20 times your bet. Stop giving up your hard-earned money and get over to nohouseadvantage.com today.
Hey, Pa, that weird guy sleeping in the street again.
So what? Mind your own business.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. It is round 4 of Once Upon a Time in Las Vegas, the rise of the greatest sports betting show in the world. You got the Steamroller right here with my pal Rocky Foré, joined as always, or at least every other week, by Chris King and Scott Riechel, two of our expert handicappers over at winnersandwhiners.com. Let's run through the tape here, boys, and finish strong. How about Seahawks Chargers? Chargers -6. 51 is the total. You know what, kids? I don't think this San Diego defense, put $1 in the jar. I don't think this Los Angeles Chargers defense is very good yet. Bosa's good. And then you got, okay, there you go. That's I think it's going to be a problem. The Seahawks team is surprisingly, they jumped up and just absolutely dominated Arizona last week. And the number one ranked passer in QBR, do you know who it is? Or not QBR, but actual quarterback rating. You guys know who it is?
Unfortunately, it's Geno Smith.
Geno Smith. That's right. That's absolutely right. This is an ugly game. This is one of the tougher games on the board for me. I'm going to lean Seahawks and take the 6 points. I just don't have faith in this Chargers team at all.
I like the Seahawks too. I think they might win the game, but I think it's a very good spot for Seattle. Defensively, they were atrocious. Then they suddenly had a really good game against Arizona. Might be because of Cliff Kingsbury. Maybe the defense figured something out. Probably Cliff Kingsbury, but still, I don't like the Chargers defense either. They got into a track meet with the Browns, which isn't exactly an ideal spot, and I credit most of the good defensive numbers on Monday night to Russell Wilson just being awful after the first quarter and for Denver having Hackett as a coach. But Seattle's been feisty, and the Chargers cannot stop the run. And even though Penny got hurt, Kenneth Walker looked pretty good. I think he's going to end up torching this defense. I like the play-action game. Still have Metcalf, still have Lockett. And the Chargers also missing about half their offensive line. They're on a short week. It's a bad scheduling spot. I'll take Seattle to potentially win outright, but I'll take them plus the 6.
That kid's starting to catch some passes too.
Yeah.
I don't hate him as a tight end. Go ahead, Chris. Sorry, buddy.
I was going to say, I'm waiting for Geno Smith for the clock to strike midnight and him turn back into the pumpkin that we saw play for the Jets. I'm not sold on Seattle. I know that they played well against Arizona, but like Riechel said, Cliff Kingsbury is the coach, and I've got Cliff Kingsbury on the death watch because he's bound to get fired in the next couple of weeks. I get the fact that the Chargers have struggled defensively. By the way, Bosa's been out since week 3. He's on IR.
They got Mack, who's their best defensive player, yeah.
They've got J.C. Jackson is back now. He's finally getting into form. I've got to see Seattle actually, put together a full game on the road that's not against the Cardinals. I think Herbert can take advantage of this secondary. I don't think Tariq Woolen's fast. He's got 4 interceptions in 4 straight games. I'm hoping Keenan Allen comes back for the Chargers this week because he's on my fantasy team and I've had to leave him on the bench for 5 straight weeks. But I think the Chargers will find a way to steal the game late and end up covering the line by winning by 7.
I agree with you about Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's a type of a receiver to just absolutely destroy a Seahawks defense. But if he doesn't play, I really like the Seahawks, mostly because this is a team that's thrown out a young quarterback with broken ribs. They sent Tyrod Taylor to the grave just by giving him an injection. And they continued to put Dustin Hopkins on the field after he heard a pop and he's screaming in agony. He can't even finish a kick properly, and they're throwing him out there. It's a regular season game. Yeah, I mean, I understand you need these field goals, but are they not worried about killing Dustin Hopkins? I mean, that guy,
they can cut him and bring in another kicker.
I guess maybe
were the Chiefs concerned when Butker had to take 1 step to kick a field goal in week 1? No, they sent him out there anyway.
54 yards, nailed it. I understand Amendola is available.
I will say I'll say this to Dustin Hopkins. I get it. Value your life, value your health. You don't get points for the amount of times you scream while kicking a ball.
That's too bad.
Fair enough. Hey, speaking of malfeasance with injured players, it's the Dolphins hosting the Steelers. Okay.
Is that the NFL officiating phone?
We're not in the middle of anything. You can take that if you want,
Okay. I got you.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. What? Mom, no. I'm in the middle of my show. I did the Dan Snyder thing. It's okay. I'll pay for the groceries. Just because I had to say it on the show doesn't mean I believe it. All right?
Yeah. Dolphins, 7-point home favorites over the Steelers. 45 is the number. The 2 games that I hate the most are back-to-back. This is the second one. I don't know what to make of this either one of these teams. Pittsburgh, it really lets you know how bad Tampa is because this is not a good Pittsburgh team. They're 27th in rushing. They're 23rd in passing. Other than that, they're in great shape. The defense, it's better than the offense. That's what I'll say. Without T.J. Watt and without Minka Fitzpatrick, Tua is going to be back for this one, I believe. We're going to find out if the Dolphins mania of the early season is for real or if it was all just iron pyrite, a.k.a. fool's gold. Dolphins -7. I'm holding my nose and taking this one.
Yeah, I'm just going to take the easy play. I'm going to take the under. A lot of reasons to like it. A, it's a primetime game, so that's already a good chance it's going to be hideous. B, I don't like either offense right now. I know Miami has good weapons with the likes of Hill and with Waddle, but I wonder just how sharp Tua's going to look in his first game in several weeks post, a 7th concussion. But still, you're looking at the Steelers. Defensively, they were missing a bunch of guys. They did play well last week, and they're probably going back to Trubisky. I know Pickett had to leave last game. Trubisky finished well. I'm assuming he'll be behind center. But you ended up getting Xavier Howard back for Miami secondary. He looked pretty decent. I just think both offenses aren't actually that good. And for a total that's in the mid-40s, it sounds really high to me. I'm going to take the under and dare one of these offenses to break through on a regular basis. Give me the under.
I agree. I'll take the under as well, but I'm going to take the Steelers with the points. As of right now, as of Tuesday, Tagovailoa is a game-time decision. So who knows? And like you said, he's going to be rusty if he does play. He might only last 3 snaps before he gets brained again. It's bad enough he had to bring Teddy Bridgewater in after he cleared concussion protocol because Skylar Thompson got hurt. Skylar Thompson, the eighth-year senior that made Manhattan his second home over there, playing at K-State. Sure, Miami's got weapons offensively. They still have issues on the offensive line. And Howard, how long is he going to last with that groin? Pittsburgh should get Freiermuth back after he missed last week with the concussion. And come on, you just beat Tampa Bay, who could have thrown the ball for 600 yards and let them score 1 touchdown, despite missing 3/4 of your secondary and T.J. Watt. I'll take the Steelers and the points. I just don't like the Dolphins here.
I think the Dolphins' beginning of the season was not a fluke. We're going to see that when Tua comes back. That offense is built for him. I know people were talking about before the season, he's not going to get the ball to them. He did. He proved it. If he's okay, I like the Dolphins.
Okay, very good. And
now, Rocky, you realize the Dolphins haven't had a quarterback finish a game they started since week 3, right?
That's a good point.
Yikes.
But they are playing the Steelers, so as long as they can score 20 points before somebody gets hurt, they got it.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, we'll finish up the week with the Monday night affair between the Bears and the Patriots. This is at home in Foxborough. Patriots, as you might suspect, a rather large favorite, 8.5 points. 40 is the total. Here's a quick question, guys. Did the Bears get to 14 in this one? I don't think they do.
I was going to say, did the Bears get to 10?
Yeah, 31st in scoring. New England, 7th in scoring defense. The Patriots have been playing good football lately behind Bailey Zappi. God bless you, kid. Riechel, he made us a lot of money last year, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Pats have won.
He still made me money in the pros this year.
Yep. Pats have won 2 of their last 3, and they've covered the number in all 3 of those games. I don't think this one goes any differently. It's hard to say whether I hate this Bears team or Texans team more. I'll take the Patriots minus the 8.5.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's a little bit, I'd say, concerning for me is the fact that Chicago does have extra time to prep because they played on Thursday. The thing is, it's Chicago, so they can take all the prep they want. Couple months, figure it out. They're still going to lose pretty handily. I like how New England's been playing lately, and I'm not saying that Zappi is better than Mac Jones. I'm just saying I think they're very, very close. I think they have a very similar skill set. The offense has looked pretty comfortable with him behind center. And most importantly, he's looked pretty comfortable. It seems like New England has really balanced the pass game with the ground game. And Chicago had a bunch of yards, scored 7 points against Washington. Can you guys remind me how good Washington's defense is without Chase Young?
I don't believe that good.
Not good. And they scored 1 touchdown, 7 points. I think New England kills this team. I like the under as well because I'm not sure how much Chicago's going to contribute. But New England should be able to have a balanced play-action attack, exploit Chicago's defense, and I think they'll eventually find a way to win this game by double digits. Give me the Patriots.
They call threading the needle right there, laying 8.5 with a total of 40. That's
true.
I can see a 24-10 game. Like I think it's going to be a really ugly one-sided affair.
I don't disagree with that. Chris, what do you got?
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, the Bears, while they moved the ball seemingly at will last week against Washington, turned it over in the red zone multiple times, turned it over on downs, couldn't find a way to punch the ball in the end zone. Why don't you turn around and hand the ball off to David Montgomery? Why are you trying to throw the friggin' ball from the 2-yard line and get intercepted? Justin Fields shows that he's not an NFL quarterback. I know that, I'm not the biggest fan of Bill Belichick by any stretch of the imagination, but New England's far, far superior to Chicago here. There's no reason that they can't win this game by double digits, and they're still going to stay under that total.
You guys know who has the best passer rating behind Taysom Hill, Braxton Berrios, Tyler Boyd, Justin Jefferson, Brandon Mann, Ryan Wright, Riley Dixon?
Got to be Justin
Zappy?
Fields.
Bailey Zappi.
Mm.
I like the Patriots. Easy.
Hey, all right.
Where's Justin Fields on that list?
I don't know if I can scroll down far enough.
I think
Page
he's
2.
right above DJ Dallas.
Very
Yeah.
good. All right, very good. Hey, that's a show, guys. That's what do we got? 14 games this week. Yeah. So thanks as always for everybody joining us and hanging out, getting a few laughs, and hopefully learning a little something about what we think about these games. Chris, Scott, appreciate you guys joining us as always. Scott, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Riechel Radio, Reicho Radio. Besides that, still doing my free picks every night on the Winners and Winers YouTube page.
Very, very solid. And Chris King, what do you got happening in the Chris King world these days?
Well, I mean, we're going to retool Just Parlays. They'll probably be back in a couple weeks once we figure out the new format for it. But you can catch me on Twitter at Betting Royalty, or you can catch me on the Winners and Winers website, because if there's a game out there, I'm probably writing about it.
And Rocky, I know this is always a thrill. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Rocky Foré. You can also find me at the park in a merry-go-round. I'm going to see how long I can keep spinning before I throw up.
What's the over-under on that for Rocky's Propies?
3.5 minutes.
Very solid.
Is the
I have a stomach of steel.
under juiced?
Yeah.
There's going to be some juice, all right.
Mm-hmm.
All right, kids. And, of course, I am Scott the Steamroller Steehn. You can find me on Twitter at Steamroller. You can find me on the Winners and Winers YouTube channel. I'm doing daily picks each and every day. They get posted early in the morning. You can find us here on this show. You can find me and Riechel doing our college show every Friday afternoon. And hopefully we're going to start winning. Man, we were so hot, and we have been ice chilly the last 2 weeks. So we're going to try to pull out of that slump here on Friday. Make sure you check this out. As always, don't forget to comment. You could be $100 richer just by commenting. It's just that easy. And if we screw it up like we did last week, we gave away 2 $100 gift cards because we did one without sound, and then we realized we didn't have sound. We did another one, and we gave away $100 to each of them because that's the kind of integrity that we have over here. All right. Hey, you guys have a great week. Good luck on all of your plays, not just your NFL, but man, NBA's back, NHL, college football, whatever you got cooked up. I wish you the best of luck. Thanks for joining us on Once Upon a Time in Las Vegas, the rise of the greatest sports betting show in the world. Until next week, you guys take care. We'll see you then.
Subscribe.